Greetings, folks, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Master Grade High New Verka Gundam, and gotta say, I am a little unimpressed given all the hype and... Wait, what's that? This is the wrong one? This isn't the Master Grade? Crap. Okay, cut the logo, and I'm going to go build the Master Grade. I'll be right back. You guys enjoy the logo. See you, bye! Welcome back, everyone, and this is for real the Master Grade High New Verka that we're going to be taking a look at today. This is quite a beast of a mobile suit, let me just tell you right off the bat. It's not quite as big as its brother, the New Gundam, but this one is based off of the original writings that were the inspiration for Char's Counterattack, which then got turned into a manga called Peltachorka's Children or something like that. I'm bad with the pronunciation. But this is sort of a reimagining upgrade to the New Gundam, and it is pretty great. Without any further ado, we're going to jump right into this. We're going to talk about the build, we're going to talk about the accessories, we're going to talk about the articulation, and then we're going to go over some final thoughts on this thing, and we're going to give it a good, thorough looking over. So sit back and enjoy. We're going to start by talking about the build of this kit, and I want to go ahead and get the elephant in the room out of the way first and talk about the water slides that go onto this thing. Now, there are quite a number of these things, and the ones that are probably the most aggravating and the most daunting for most people are the ones that go onto the fin funnels. These are those large purple fades that you see on the back. Putting these things on was time-consuming and very nerve-wracking. Moving on from that, one of the other things that really stood out to me about this is the insane amount of part separation that you get on this mobile suit. You see a lot of part separation on other mobile suits, that's true, but this is the first one I've ever put together where even all of these little small circular thruster bits that appear on the sides of the knees and on the sides of the cockpit have been completely part separated, which is fantastic for people who like to custom paint their kit. Not everything about this kit, however, is peaches and cream. There are a couple of pretty nasty mold lines that you're going to have to remove, most notably the ones that are going to be up on the bicep area. Those are fairly difficult to remove because they're across a couple of curved surfaces where you're going to have to get in and do some detail sanding to get those removed. There's also the mold lines that go across the top of the wing binders where the beam sabers are stored, so keep that in mind that you are going to have a couple of areas that are going to stand out. The forearm on the right arm where that Gatling gun is likes to slide down on its own accord if the arm is drooping down. I don't really appreciate that, and I think the front and back skirts are both a little bit too loose for my liking. Other than those things though, the build of this kit is really solid and very enjoyable. It's not overly engineered, it's not under engineered, it's just in that perfect mid-range where you've got enough complexity to be enjoyable but not enough complexity to be fiddly. Moving on to the accessories for this kit, you've got a few actually built-in accessories that I want to talk about first. On the right arm, you have a flip-out Gatling gun, sort of reminiscent of the NT1 Alex, which I think is actually a really cool addition. It's all molded in white plastic, so if you want it to look really stand out, you're going to have to paint that. You've also got 3 beam saber handles, and one of those can be stored inside the left forearm that you can pop out, attach a beam in, and you've got that really cool forearm beam saber effect like you get with the Unicorn Gundam. So I like those kind of callbacks to those designs, although of course the Unicorn would be a callback to this instead of the other way around. Aside from that, the other 2 beam sabers can be stored up in the wing binders above the fin funnel mounts, so those are actually really cool that you can store those on the kit, and they do hide away quite nicely. Unfortunately, you do only get 2 beam effects with this kit, but they are in a very nice clear blue, so those are a really cool addition, and having 3 beam effects on at the same time would probably be a little bit on the overkill side. You also get a really cool beam rifle that is fairly part and color separated. It's a cool addition. I like it. It's big, it's beefy, it's menacing looking, and it's got a lot of potential for being custom painted up. And like all good Amuro Gundams, you do get a nice shield with this, although be warned that it is pretty much just one big slab of white plastic. Even with the decals on it, I still find that it looks a little bit on the plain side. You also get a really cool bazooka, again, like any good Amuro kit. This thing can be held on the hand to rest on the shoulder. It extends outward, which is really nice, or it can be stored around on the back of the backpack between the 2 large large fuel tanks. This thing also comes with a really great display stand and that nice Amuro A symbol. The arm of the display stand also can have these other sub arms attached that can hold your fin funnels, so you get some really cool fin funnel flying around effects around the kit. I really like the inclusion of this stand. I think more Gundams should come with an included stand, especially ones like this one that are very back heavy. So that's pretty much it for external accessories that you get with this kit. There is a cavity inside of the chest where you can install one of the Bandai Puck LEDs that give it that really cool eyes and camera light up effects up in the head, though I do find there's a little bit of light bleed out from beneath the head and at the edges of the helmet. This guy looks really great with the light up effects on, and I think that while it's not necessary for the enjoyment of this kit, it definitely is something that enhances its look quite a bit when showing this off. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the articulation on this kit. Again, I want to get the elephant out of the way first and mention that the waist of this kit is pretty much Loctite in place. That has to do with the size and bulk of the skirting armor. It also has to do with the fact that this thing has a massive backpack on the back. It can't really move that waist. You're not going to get any ab crunch whatsoever. You're not going to get any side to side, and you're not going to get any rotation. So just go ahead and write those off, unfortunately. But I don't think that's a major negative for this kit because it is so back heavy. So with that negative out of the way, the other articulation on this kit is all pretty much positive. I do like the fully posable hands. They work really well, especially with the double tabs in the palms to put the weapons in. You've also got double bend at the elbow, which gives you pretty much the full range of motion there. You've got a good double bend at the knee. The rest of the leg movement is kind of blocked by the skirting armor being so large, but I don't think that's a big negative for the kit. If for something that looks like this, you're not expecting it to do super massive dynamic poses. But on the plus side, you can get the skirting armor out of the way mostly to do just about any pose you would want with it. The wing binders move around quite a bit. They don't have quite as much of a up and down motion as I would like, but even with that, each of the individual fin funnels are also quite well articulated, so even if the actual binders at the top don't move quite as much as I'd like, it's made up for by the fact that I can move each individual fin funnel that's hanging down off of them individually. So that's a really massive plus. The shoulders have an enormous range of motion. They can pull out slightly to give you the nice butterfly backward and forward, and they raise up rather well. You can even get the full rotation out of them when the backpack isn't on, which is really nice. But they are rather bulky, so raising the arm up above parallel with the ground straight up with the armor still in place is going to be rather difficult. One other semi-minor complaint I have with the articulation of this kit is that the fuel tanks on the back are on a hinge that let them just go up and down. They're not on a ball joint that allows them to move a little bit more dynamically. But I also think that because the intent of these things is to help stabilize this while standing on the ground, because you can use them as a prop to hold the backpack up, is why they don't move more freely, and I'm okay with that trade-off. I just wish they would have been a little bit more dynamic, but again, trade-off. The lack of an extended heel on the back of the feet does make this thing very unstable when standing on its own, so you're gonna have to use something to keep it propped up when you're doing a standing pose, whether you're using the fuel tanks as a pseudo stand or you just have this thing on an action base. All that taken into account, I think the articulation on this kit evens out to be fairly average overall. There are some really good parts, there are some lacking parts. It's not going to be striking the most dynamic poses in the world, but you're gonna get some really cool poses out of it regardless. So I really think that it's not a pure negative, it's not a pure positive, it's about average, and I'm fine with that. So final thoughts on this kit are pretty much summed up by the phrase, "Oh my god, I'm glad I never have to put another water slide on those fin funnels ever again." With the real grade coming out and it having what look to be color and part separated fin funnels, I am very excited to see that there is a direction being taken here that's not just the full high blue where it's all one blue piece, but you're also not having to put on these water slides that have the fades on them like you do on the High Nu Verka. We'll see where that actually pans out, if that actually ends up being what they are. They could be stickers. I don't know. Bandai has yet to show us much about that. But this guy, after you get past the fin funnel water slides and after you get past how back heavy this thing is, it really is a good quality kit. There's not parts falling off of it. You're going to get a lot of really good articulation. It comes with a great stand. The only real downside, again, are putting the water slides on the fin funnel and how back heavy this kit is. Otherwise, I'm going to give this thing a 17 out of 30 Amuros. I know that's kind of average, middle of the road sort of rating, but that's how I feel about the kit. I think it's a really good strong kit. I don't think it's terrible, but it's also not an amazing work of engineering, but it's also not a garbage trash heap either. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. Thank you again, everyone, for visiting and watching my review. Again, take your time to like and subscribe down on here on the channel, leave a comment, let me know how I'm doing, and most importantly, guys, keep building.